Aloha and welcome. Are you ready to do something dirty and exciting? I've got the perfect thing. Let's DIY your dirty, disgusting, and nasty carpet floors. This is one of those DIY projects that I've always wanted to do just because I have animals and there is always something that they're bringing in, and it's very difficult to keep the carpets clean. No matter how much you clean them, professionally cleaned or not, they still are never really clean, and I just don't like carpet. So with this DIY, this is something, like I said, that I've been wanting to do for a while. So this will show you on removing carpet, removing the pad, and the adhesive, which is the most trickiest part, I think. And this video will also give you 4 examples of removing that adhesive. I have tried a non-toxic adhesive removal, and I've also tried just a little putty scraper, just to do it by hand, as well as a toxic adhesive removal, which I definitely do not suggest. And lastly, I also tried just boiling hot water, which is surprisingly did a great job. Time consuming, but did a great job. So in this video, you'll see the trial and errors, some things that I learned to do and next time I will do differently, and some things that actually just worked out pretty well. So this will come together from the beginning to the end, and hopefully my next video will come about with what I'm going to do with these great new clean floors. So stick around and I hope you enjoy the video. Aloha!
Okay, easy as 1, 2, 3. So I have my items that I am using for this project today. Of course, multiple animals, always a help. I have my cutter, I have gloves, and a face mask. I am using just this little thing to cover my face. This was before I bought my face mask. All right, now for the fun part. Okay, it's all fun, but it's fun to watch me move this really quickly. So just moving the furniture around and giving yourself a nice open space that you're not having anything. So furniture done. Oh, the bed. The bed was a tricky one. I did it though. Yay me. All right, it's time. Let's pull this carpet up. So doing it in smaller layers, or excuse me, smaller areas is best. It's best for moving it around after you have cut it up. So I am using my box cutter and I'm cutting it in strips. As you can see, it's not as easy when you have so many people loving you. Furry love, furry love. So cutting into strips here and folding it up so it makes it a little bit easier to move around. There's Mr. Henry showing us. I had to measure it out for the new flooring, so went ahead and measured that. And now here I am doing the carpet over here. Now this one I didn't cut into strips because it was a smaller area that I thought that I could pick up myself. So this one over here, same thing. It's a small area, so I was able just to remove it from the wall, pull it out, and done. Gaston waited the whole time. Now, the great part of this video is you will see my trial and errors. So this was definitely an error. I decided I wasn't going to cut this little piece up. I just folded it up thinking, it's fine. It was a booger to get out, let me tell you. So there we are. Measurements again, and Mr. Gaston waiting so nice and patiently. Now we're getting started on the padding. Let's talk about trial and error here. Wow. So the padding. This is my first time to remove the padding. So I thought that I could just grab it like I did the carpet and pull it up. Not a good idea, because what happens is it breaks apart right where the gluing is. So in larger strips that is stuck to where the glue, the adhesive is, and it is a booger and I have to get off. So what I started to do was actually kicking. Oh, look at my little guys. They're hanging out. See how much is left over? So once I pulled off on this section, I started pulling off the pad, if you notice, I'm just kicking it. I'm using my foot and just trying to remove some of the padding. Actually, a lot of it does come off, but it is a lot of work. So this has become quite the workout as well. This, you can see quite a bit comes off. It looks like it's doing pretty good. However, that little bit of glue that's left on there, let me tell you, it's on there darn good.
Right, so you can see a difference here, obviously. Hi, Tiva girl. And this is the pile that, as you can see, these were difficult to get up in the sense of I just stomp them. So I do need to get a tool. I think that's going to be a much better idea if I had a little scraper, you know, just to get off this little bit of glue, because I'm going to need eventually, and then I'm going to have to sand it as well. But woo, what a mess I have. Gaston.
Okay, here you can see this is what's left after I pulled up the padding in the foyer. This is my blister. Now I'm trying to scrape up some of this adhesive. As you can tell, this little tool, this was one of the ways I used to get the adhesive up, and this is doing it by hand and scraping. And let me tell you, it was a lot of work. Not to Gaston, as you can tell. He doesn't seem to be bothered by this work at all, but there's the hand tool to scrape it up. Okay, now here is a lesson learned. So this time I am using a flat shovel, and I am going underneath the padding and trying to scrape evenly, so not as much as staying pulled behind. I'm also using this to crack open the little tack strips that are on the side, and it actually works pretty darn well. And you can see it doesn't leave as much behind, so I would suggest this for removing your padding. Little tea break, please. Muddy little stinky paws. Now this is what I use. This is my second option for removing the adhesive. And as you can see, this is what it looks like. I got these little guys. They kept going in the crate so I can keep them out of my way. So read the instructions, obviously, and I wore safety with my gloves and my mask, and mix the ingredients together, which is just water, and then spread it on the adhesive with a broom. It's pretty easy. Back and forth, and you can see that it gets quite slippery. Actually, I don't know if you can see it or not, but just let me tell you, I was afraid that I was going to record myself falling because it got so slippery. And set the timer for 1 hour and wait. Now this is what it looks like. It's loosening up. I put a crate in the entryway so they couldn't come in there. Look how pitiful they look. So you can see how loose it is and hairy and gross. And I get my floor scraper. This thing is awesome. You definitely need one. It is night and day difference. So scraping it away, look how easy it comes off. Now this adhesive remover that I used was a non-toxic, and it didn't smell bad. I didn't need to fume everything out, so which was really nice because you'll see later that not all works the same. So this is the second way I chose to remove the adhesive. As you can see, it does a pretty darn good job. And to finish this section, again, this is with the non-toxic adhesive remover. And it's some spots feels like it's coming up really well, and other spots I feel like I'm having to go over it again and again and again. It wears on your back a bit, so if you get a chance, do some stretches, keep yourself, lubricated in the sense of, drink lots of water. And that little towel that I'm moving around there, that is actually to help me from slipping because it was so slippery. All right, so now this is the other side. So it's time to do the same exact thing that we did on that side, mixing the ingredients and applying the non-toxic adhesive all over. And then we're going to wait our hour like we did before. Okay, here is our third tactic. to get rid of this adhesive. Now this is straight up boiling hot water. So I brought my kettle downstairs to the basement and filled it up with water. And as soon as it was done, just poured it on there. And I was actually really happy with the results. It didn't take any chemicals and it was just hot water. Now the issue here, it is so time consuming. Even though I have a pretty quick, see, look at that. See, isn't that, it comes up so nicely. Bam, gone. But even though I have a quick to boil kettle, I still having to fill it up, give it a few minutes to come to a full boil, pour it on the adhesive, then scrape, repeat the process over and over and over. I was having to repeat it so many times. But as you can see, it works pretty darn well. It's just time consuming. Now you can't just pour it all over. I did at this particular one. I just poured it in a large section and then scraped over. What I found to work the best is small sections at a time. So you're actually scraping it when it's still very, very hot. So you can see the many times that it takes, oh my gosh, it took so long. You do a little bit, and then you have to scrape it, sweep it, boil the water, do it again, do it again. A few times in between, I started doing a few pliés and stretching my legs a little bit. So, but it is quite time consuming. Now here I am 2 days later after I had used that non-toxic adhesive. It seemed like it came up, but after a few days, it started coming back up again. So to me, what it happens is you're scraping off the first layer, which looks like you're getting just about all of it off, but there's still that gluey substance. So it just felt like there was gum underneath. So let's do this again. And this was just done dry. I didn't put any other adhesives on it, adhesive removers. Okay, get ready. Poison alert. I use this one. It is very toxic. I read the instructions, mixed it together, applied it, and right after I applied this, I became sick. And then I was sick for the next 24 hours. I do not suggest this. Yuck, it was terrible. The fumes were terrible. There I'm in bed with Henry. Bless my heart. I was a sick puppy. Now it's time to get rid of all the padding and such. We just drove our stuff over to the dump, and the rules and regulations for our dump is that the padding needs to be bagged up. The carpet can be taken just as is, and then all the tack strips and things like that just need to be in separate, so they're not all together. All of our rubbish all in a nice containers, some more carpet that needs to go, and last but not least, let's load it up in the truck with the help of my son, and he'll haul it all to the dump, which I'm thankful. And now we are ready to do something great with our floors. The carpet is gone. Hip hip hooray! Stay tuned for what I do with the floor next. Aloha!